Hey everyone, welcome to the conclusion of the first round from the 2017 Utah Open. We got Big Julie commentary here, Big Germ, Jeremy Koling, joined by my buddy from Mesa, Arizona, Paul Ulibarri. Here we are, hole 10. We got the triple mandatory, which is designated with the rope strung across two trees. Otherwise, it'd be a very straightforward, simple 285-foot hole. It's actually probably even shorter than that. I'm sure that 285 is measured from around the mandatory itself. But it is oh my goodness. Austin right there throws the hyzer, trying to maybe be a little bit more nose up, trying to get maybe the skip into the green there. Kind of powers through, and he's left himself about 45 feet or so.
Yeah, and you'll really take that on this hole. It's really hard to get it right.
And that's a play you're not going to see many players go with. It's so far right that the anhyzer really doesn't have enough space. You don't really have the height to be able to turn it. But to be able to get it to the net in the air on the anhyzer is a pretty impressive feat, actually.
Yep. And then...
Oh, and that's kind of the height you want to throw to attack, because you really have to get it high enough to avoid that little... There's a little hillside you can't really quite see from the shot there, but...
Yeah, and the best play on this hole is to do exactly what Lewis did and then hit the ball golf tee
right,
and skip it towards the hole, and then you're almost guaranteed to be close. And Austin leaves that one a little short, but he was about, 35, 38 feet.
Yeah. And Drew's from about the similar distance. Oh, yeah, make it rain. Great putt there from Drew. A very rare backhand anhyzer birdie on this hole. I mean, if you're going to throw backhand on this hole, it's much more common to see somebody lay down a roller. But the air shot's just really hard to get that far right.
Yeah, that was very impressive, and we're going to look to see Drew kind of heating up right here.
Yeah, let's see if he can get the momentum. He's got one stroke back on Austin now. He's 2 under through 10. Maybe a bit slower pace than what he wanted, but there's a lot of attacking to do on the back nine. In hole 11, you have this fence here, which this net, it really depends on the wind. If the wind is blowing right to left, your disc's going to bounce off that fence. But if it's blowing from left to right, any disc that hits that net is going to gobble it up, and it's going to hit one of these poles, and it's going to come up short.
Yeah, the play is to just barely miss the net and go around these 2 pine trees, and it looks like Drew gets early enough that he actually bounces in front of the pole.
Oh, a FollowFlight on a ricochet. I'm surprised to see that. Look at that.
Perfectly played.
Oh, man, he is tapping range. One thing we didn't mention, if you see up there on that furthest left pine tree, there is a mandatory forcing the players to go straight at the pin or right of that mandatory. So it brings that tree into play, which really makes you make some decisions. Do I go low? Do I throw the wide hyzer? If you throw the wide hyzer, it's really tricky to get around that right tree that Lewis hit and that net, and keeping the distance in check as well. So there's a lot of things to factor in here.
Yeah, I really like this hole.
Oh, wow. And Austin, again, aggressive. He's left himself about 25, 26 feet on elevated basket. Not exactly what you want for your par.
And Lewis giving a nice nose-up run, but, I mean, that's more of what you want from that distance.
From that distance, you don't want to leave yourself the 25, 28-foot runs for 3. And Drew just says, can I please get through and go to the next hole already or what? And Austin, again, making good on his par save. Those kind of things start adding up, I feel like, though. You know, you don't want to leave yourself too much stress over the course of a round. There's so many things to worry about, and 3-putting or 2-putting from, anything outside of comfortable 20-foot tapping range can really start to add up.
He's definitely padding his inside the circle stats with those.
Oh, for sure.
Those long jump putts and then 30-foot comebackers.
So nice birdie there off the net for Drew, and we have another hole where the net is on the right side. We got trees on the left and another mandatory, keeping the players go down the tight tunnel. On a golf course that's as wide open as this, they really are trying to find a way to force some sort of technicality into it. So
absolutely, and I usually find it a little bit overdone on properties like this, but I think they really used these nets to their full advantage.
Yeah, and there you see what the net normally does. Typically you're not getting too many bounces with the wind blowing that net out, but I think that they did a really great job. And one of the things they did really well from last year is they really took player feedback and they incorporated it into their course design. So hats off to the tournament staff of the Utah Open for really being open to understanding what works and maybe what can be improved on. That's something that a lot of tournament directors should, be commended for listening.
Absolutely, yeah. They're very stern in making changes, but like you said, they're also really receptive of the feedback. So
it's good stuff there. And two pretty textbook layups there, just tap in threes and
pretty typical on that whole people.
Oh, wow. Yes. Awesome. There's Lewis lighting it up from that 55, 60-foot range. That's always fun to run one down, man. You get one of those around, it always gets the...
And he threw actually a really good drive there. You could tell that he look at these kids.
These guys are brothers. I mean, they're the same person. It's just Drew's 3 years older.
Yeah, it's funny. That's what you get when you have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old battling out on the pro tour these days.
Oh my gosh, they're so funny. Here's one that they shortened a bit from last year. I don't know if I believe that it's 524 feet. I certainly feel like it plays closer to like 475, and at that distance, it makes a big difference. Obviously, you have the water that's just really close to the basket at that distance, and you have that super fast fairway. So anything that's low and skipping is in a lot of danger to go in the water. And Lewis just takes that out of play and just goes right with a little bit of Anheuser. Definitely left more on the plate than he wanted to. But he's safe from the water for now, and that's just fine.
Yeah, and on that upshot, it is going to be a fast green, so it's easy to leave it short and leave yourself a tester putt, and it's also easy to kind of run by the basket and go out of bounds. And Drew's showing his power here.
He's got so much power. And
there goes circle 2, and there's circle 1.
Oh, my goodness. He did the same thing last year when the tee pad was about 50 feet longer during the final round. So,
oh man,
that's gonna need to do some lifting and skipping and. Oh, he hits the hill. That saved him about 400 feet. Oh my goodness!
Just the power though to even be able to throw it that wide and get back to land.
I mean, that had all the distance. Oh, and there you go. There's that fast green you're talking about. But yeah, I mean, Austin would have been parked if he was 4 feet higher.
Oh, he's just running after these putts, though. He is not leaving them short.
No, there's no layup right now with him. And that's a surprise right there. I mean, this is a pretty straightforward hole. To take a 5 is gets him right back to earth after that sweet putt from the last hole. That's a mood ruiner right there, man.
Well, that's the position you get in. You get out of position on the hole, and then you leave yourself a really tricky upshot, and then just a small lapse in concentration, and now all of a sudden you're staring down a 25, 30-foot putt for a bogey.
And there finally, Austin, he as well takes the 5, and like you said, used a little bit out of position, and just like that, Drew with the monster bonus birdie takes 3 on the card for both players, and Austin and Drew were tied at 3 under before that. On the hole 14 here, very short par 3, but that bunker is just really right where you want your disc to land. It is very difficult to keep this safe and not roll down that hill. That wall there is out of bounds. One of the few times in the course that the sidewalk actually comes in play as being OB. The rest of the holes, it is safe.
Well, and Drew takes a giant spike hyzer.
Just over the wall, OB. He's going to have a pretty tricky putt for his par.
Yeah, this basket's definitely perched up on a hill here. OB left, OB right, but Lewis plays your typical shot.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, playing a bank into that wall leaves you that scary putt where the bunker's behind, but that's still safe, which is good for now.
Definitely makeable.
And Austin as well goes down to the Keen wall.
It takes a lot of touch to land this on that hill without skipping down.
You see a lot of players, so like a giant spike hyzer like Drew did, just a little bit wider so it doesn't bring that wall into play. And Austin's not happy there, especially after the double bogey from the previous hole. But he'll be tapping in his 3, and Drew has to do a little bit of work for his 3. And that's the solid Drew stroke that we're all familiar with. Dead center, perfect pace.
He's slowly putting together a good round here.
Yeah.
He's not making a lot of mistakes, and he's capitalized nicely on a couple long putts. Lewis with there
you go,
really good birdie right there. Like you said, he got that nose up and he powered right through it and got it right over the rim.
Wow, Austin rushed it a bit there. I mean, that's a pretty routine tap in. Doesn't have to take too much time on it, but those are kind of the ones that you let those slip by, and you think about that one overnight.
Yeah, it was definitely a frustration tap in.
Yeah, it wasn't really a tap.
Pretty hard. Yeah,
tap is a little bit. That's not the right word for it.
No.
He kind of slammed it in there. And now onto one of the most interesting holes in the course. This is the Mike Milne designed Mill Dog hole. Very, very tricky, long hole. Difficult to land your disc on the fairway over water the whole way, and this is one hole that actually ended up bringing up a lot of controversy. The ruling on this hole was that any shot that went out of bounds, and that's one of the longest shots I've ever seen in the hole.
He laid into that.
Oh my goodness, that's one of the most aggressive plays I think I've ever seen. But the ruling on this hole is that if you go out of bounds, you go to the drop zone. You do not go where you crossed in bounds last. And Drew gets that skip that needs to sit down, and that is out of bounds. And I believe that was Cam Todd up there checking that lie out. And Austin has played a very aggressive line as well. These guys are really shortening this hole. I mean, if this is in bounds, that is just gigantic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cutting the hole more than in half. I mean, and this is right here. This is an incorrect play of the hole. But this happened for more than 30 competitors. And there ended up being a ruling that since there was nothing in the player's book about the ruling, and the spotter wasn't aware, and there wasn't a mandatory players meeting, there was just a mandatory check-in, that the rule was never discussed. So the 30 players who did play it incorrectly, instead of getting a 2-stroke penalty, ended up wiping out the penalty and just saying that the ruling was on their end, not the player's end.
Right.
So,
and you would see actually these guys play the hole a lot different if they knew that, because you could tell that they were going after it, thinking that, hey, if I even hit in bounds or if I skip into that creek, I'm going to be able to take it from
you'll
there.
Have a 250-foot approach as opposed to a 350.
And there's some good putts from these guys right there. That's the way you're supposed to play the hole.
Austin played it perfectly there. A huge drive right down the middle. I mean, you really rarely see somebody go that big off the tee there. And the same for Lewis here. I mean, that's as routine of 2 birdies as you're really ever going to see. And I don't even say routine because those were so aggressive, but they made it look so easy.
Yeah, that's what using that power to your advantage and really shortening one of the most dangerous holes on the course.
Mm-hmm. Big numbers come on that hole, and they going 1 down or 2 down through the hole is really impressive on a threesome. And here's another hole that they changed from last year, another great change. Last year, it was a 500-foot shot. They called it a par 3 into this post-stamp green here. They shortened it to a 408 feet, so now it's attackable, but it also plays the risk-reward. You know, do you go short? Do you try to make a long putt, or do you attack the green and try to land your disc for the easy tap-in birdie? I think that's more of the traditional play for most players here, is to kind of lay one out there and just kind of give yourself
the option.
Right.
I expect to see Austin go after this.
Yeah, that's not a layup shot for Austin. You don't see 18-year-olds typically be in the layup mode at that early in their career. Everything is must go for.
Especially when you throw 540-foot hyzers.
Yeah. And Drew also not really much into the layup game. He's going big. He's going past the hole. Oh my goodness.
That needs to sit.
That needs to sit quick. And it does. And that's going to be the scariest putt of all time. It's not even easy to lay that one up.
No, I expect him to do just that, though. Just lay it to the top of the hill.
No one, not even Austin would be going for this putt at this point.
Except
Drew. Oh, see, there you go. That's the price you pay for going for that one. I mean.
Yeah, and I think that's just has to do with, like you said, them being young. And I think in years to come, they might learn to lay that one up.
Yeah, you got to take your medicine at some point. If you're out of position 60 feet to a blind downhill slope to a bunker behind, it might not be the best time to run a putt. But Austin with a great par save there from about 28 feet uphill. And the scary thing to think about, if you hit metal in this basket, bye-bye.
Yeah.
You're not sitting on that hillside. You're rolling right back in the bunker and you're putting for your second OB stroke of the hole. So nice putt there from Drew for his bogey. And there's a routine tap in for Lewis. And not quite.
Lava.
Lava.
Yep.
Feet are melted.
Yep.
New pair of Supras coming in. So we're on to hole 17 now, which is a really tricky hole. I mean, it's pretty straightforward in terms of it's 375. Not really much in the way. There's a tree on the left side, so if you throw the sidearm or lefty hyzer, that tree can kind of be in the way. But look how close the basket is to the water. I mean, and that really isn't even fair because it's all sloped towards the water. So 5 feet behind the pin kind of brings you into the water as well.
Right, and this tree right here on the right kind of forces you to throw it low and doesn't give you a good hyzer angle at it. So you have to kind of almost go directly at it. And that's what you see so many times on this hole is them trying to take it wide to be comfortable with that hyzer line, and then they just hold it out.
Oh, and that fought through, thank God. Are you kidding me? That not only fought through, he's parked. That is not how he drew that up, but he will take that. We must have missed Drew's tee shot here, but he finished a bit left.
And I don't think he's going to be laying this up.
No, I don't think so either. Oh, my goodness. And there you go.
Oh look at that. SloMez.
Oh, my goodness. The point at the camera.
He said, "Did you get that?"
Oh, that is sweet.
And with the SloMez, they say, "Yeah, we got it."
Oh, man. That's awesome. And a good par save from Lewis. That was a pretty generous spot. I looked like he went OB over behind the knoll about 20 feet back, but you can't tell from back there because it's all blind.
No.
Benefit of the doubt went to the player there, and he made his par putt, and Austin with a little grin on his face walking away with a birdie there. So we have Drew at 4 under, Austin at 3, and Lewis at 1 under going into the final hole. The shortest hole in the course, and probably the signature hole, just because of the views and just the difficulty of landing your drive near the hole. I mean, this basket is on those rocks right there. If you hit those rocks in the air, you're rolling right back into that water.
Yep, and then they decided to put these Pro Tour banners all the way around to make it an island green. Mm-hmm. And you have this... what is that Austin's throwing?
That is the Ringer GT, I believe.
Oh, hold on. Just like you said, he hits the rocks, but he gets the friendly rollout.
That's rare to see.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing too many players hit those rocks in the air and not be wet after that.
But he's still got action, and he's going to have a death putt.
Mm-hmm. And Drew with he made that hyzer look traditional. That is a tricky shot to throw hyzer. Most players are going to play the anhyzer to stay away from the water, but he trusted that out wide. And
if you have a sidearm, you're going to use it.
Just over the top. Maybe the scariest putt in the world now, but very beautiful view. Mm-hmm. You get to look at really pretty mountains.
Yeah, don't get distracted by the mountains.
Yep. And sticking to his game plan of being aggressive. Look at this. That's got to sit.
Oh, no.
That's an unfortunate roll away. Drew's running down there to confirm that it did indeed go OB. Now Austin's putting for his 4 and chain out. Oh my goodness.
That is not the finish that he was looking for. Let's see if Lewis can find the finish he was looking for. Wow, that looks so good.
A really great bid from that. He's not happy about it, but I mean, it's hard to really commit to that putt from outside the circle or around the circle's edge on that incredibly scary putt.
But what a great round from these guys. It was awesome to see the young talent on the tour right now, and they really showcase their power and their putting abilities. So.
Right, and not the round that I'm sure Austin or Lewis were looking for. Drew with a respectable 53 first round, 5 under. But you can see the skill. You know, Austin has all the skill, and he just needs to hone it. And as you look at the leaders after round 1, we got 4 players at 8 under, 50. Mm-hmm. Bobby Music with OB free, bogey free, 8 under. And this should be a lot of fun today for the lead card. 4 players tied at the top.
Yep.
And so, thanks again for watching, guys. That's a view that you'll see way too often, somebody taking their disc out of water. But it's nice to get them back at least. Thanks again for joining us, guys. Hope you enjoyed the first round coverage from the 2017 Utah Open. And we'll be back tomorrow with the second round. Stay tuned.